Would you betray your best friend if jealousy whispered that it could make you greater? Would you trade friendship for pride? Would you harm the one who once called you sister, just because her child was brighter than yours? In every African village, there are stories told under the moonlight. Some told for laughter, others for wisdom. But a few, very few are whispered, told in trembling tones. As if the wind must not carry the words too far, to a place they do not belong. This is one of those stories. Titled, The Well of Jealousy. The story of Fijobi village, and the well that drank envy's blood. The elders say, jealousy is like fire. Once it begins, even the hand that lit it will burn. In Fijobi, people learned that lesson the hard way. But before the tragedy, before the screams and confessions, there was peace. Fijobi was a quiet village surrounded by tall palms and red earth. A place where the sunrise painted the hearts golden, and the evening smelled of roasted yam and smoke. But there was one thing the villagers feared. At the far end of the village, near the old sick cotton tree, stood a well. A deep, ancient well. The villagers called it the mouth of the other world. They said it was dug by two brothers long ago, Olowo and Malomo, whose quarrel over land turned bitter. In rage, Olowo cursed his brother and spat into the well before he died. From that day onward, the well lost its reflection. It no longer shone under the sun. Its water stayed black, silent, and deep. Children were warned never to play near it. Women fetching water from other wells would whisper quick prayers whenever they passed. Elders' voices echoed deep, "Do not lean over that well. Do not listen when the water calls your name. For that well does not drink water, it drinks souls." Some said the well murmured at night. That if you carried bitterness in your heart, the water would whisper back. At first, just your name. Then promises. Then demands. But who believes old stories until the spirits rise again? The well was forgotten until two friends came to test the power of envy. Their names were Agnes and Rebecca. But before we reach their sorrow, listen first to how it all began. In those days, the village was full of laughter. Market days were alive with callers, bright rappers, loud bargaining, and roasted plantain scent floating in the air. Drums rolled from one end of the market to another. Women traded gossip like gold. Children ran barefoot in the red dust, their laughter echoing between mud walls. Life in Fijobi was simple, peaceful. Until envy crept in like a snake in dry leaves. Agnes and Rebecca were friends, inseparable. They fetched water together, farmed together, shared meals, and even finished each other's sentences. They were the kind of friends who called each other sister. Agnes, tall and strong, was a woman of endurance. Her hands were rough from hard work, her voice steady and deep. But her eyes often looked tired, like a river that had lost its flow. Her husband had died years ago, leaving her with two boys, David and James. David, the elder son, was 7. Strong arms, but a slow mind. The villagers whispered cruelly behind her back. A mocker's voice, mocking, distant "Oh, that Agnes' son, he cannot even count calories. His head is slow like the old tortoise. He is an imbecile." Her younger son, James, was 4. He was quick with his legs but clumsy in thought. Agnes worked from dawn till dusk, feeding them alone. She prayed her sons would grow strong, but fate seemed to test her patience every day. Then came Rebecca, her neighbor, her friend. Rebecca, too, was a widow, but her life seemed brighter. She had only one child, a boy named Jude. And that child was like light. Even before his 3rd year, his eyes carried depth beyond his age. When he laughed, the whole compound felt alive. When he spoke, even the elders listened. Elder Sam's voice, smiling, "Jude. Come here, small one. Give us a proverb." Jude, brightly, "When a child washes his hands clean, he eats with elders." Laughter, applause. Another elder, "And what do you say to laziness, boy?" Jude, confidently, "The man who refuses to sweat in the sun will starve in the rain." Cheers, clapping, laughter. Rebecca's laughter filled the air, soft, proud, motherly. She thanked the elders with humility. And Agnes? She smiled, yes. She clapped, too. But deep inside, her chest burned like dry wood under flame. Each time the villagers praised Jude, Agnes' heart tightened a little more. She told herself she was happy for her friend. But happiness and envy do not share the same heart for long. Late at night, Agnes would sit outside her hut, watching the stars. Her mind restless, her eyes full of tears she never allowed to fall. She would whisper to herself, "Why not my sons? What sin have I committed that her child shines while mine stumbles in darkness?" The elders say, the eye that watches another's blessing will go blind to its own. But Agnes did not see her own strength. All she saw was Rebecca's joy and her own pain. And in that pain, a seed began to grow. A seed that would one day feed the world. Days passed, then months. The bond between Agnes and Rebecca still held, or so it seemed. They fetched water together, cooked together, and laughed in the same rhythm. But under those smiles, jealousy had begun to whisper, softly at first. Rebecca said cheerfully, "Agnes, take small amounts of water. The sun will be hot today." Agnes, forcing a smile, "Oh, thank you, my sister. You always think of me." Rebecca laughs, "How will I not? You and I are one. If your pot breaks, I will lend you mine. If my soup finishes, I will eat from your fire." They both laughed lightly. Their friendship was like two calabashes floating on the same river, until the current began to pull them apart. At the market square, market voices, sellers calling out, goats bleating. The market square was alive that day as usual. Women sold baskets of peppers, dry fish, and cassava flour. The air smelled of palm oil and roasted corn. Rebecca's little boy, Jude, sat beside her mother's stall, humming a sweet tune. Agnes' sons played nearby, wrestling in the dust, lively chatter. A few women giggled nearby. Biola, whispering, "See that Jude, that child is blessed. So small, yet his wisdom is big like an elderly." Alice, giggling, "Rebecca's head must be full of oil. Even her shadow is lucky." Biola, "But Agnes, may God comfort her. Her sons. They cannot even greet properly." Their words were not cruel in tone, but the breeze carried them, and Agnes heard. Her smile froze. Her heart tightened. She turned away quickly, pretending to arrange her yams. But deep inside, a dark whisper said, "Even they mock you now." That night, Agnes could not sleep. She tossed on her raffia mat, staring at the roof. The moonlight slipped through the holes like silver tears. Agnes, whispering to herself, "Why does God favor her so much? Her husband died, yet she laughs. Her child shines, yet mine stumbles. What have I done wrong?" The elders say, the heart that envies another's fire forgets to turn its own lamp. But Agnes did not remember. She began to watch Rebecca differently, not with the eyes of a friend, but with the eyes of quiet resentment. Rebecca said cheerfully to Agnes, "Come, let's go and wash our clothes by the river before the sun grows strong." Agnes, hesitant, tired-toned, "You go ahead. I will come later." Rebecca, teasing her, "Since when did Agnes become lazy? You used to wake before even the roosters." Agnes, flatly, "I am just tired, Rebecca. Go." Rebecca leaves, soft footsteps fade. That was the first morning they did not walk together. And once friendship breaks one routine, another soon follows. Days turned into weeks. Agnes began to avoid Rebecca, speaking less, smiling, rarely. Rebecca noticed, her heart grew heavy with confusion. One evening, as the sun melted into gold and red, Rebecca decided to visit Agnes. Rebecca, softly calling Agnes, "My sister. Are you home?" Agnes, curtly, "Yes, come in." Rebecca stepped inside, carrying a small pot of soup. The aroma filled the room, pepper, onions, palm oil, love. Rebecca, smiling gently, "I cooked extra soup. You've been quiet these days. Take some for the boys." Agnes, hesitant, You didn't have to. I am fine. Rebecca said to Agnes, since when do friends measure giving? Eat and be happy. Agnes' lips twitched, half grateful, half wounded. But before she could respond, little Jude ran in laughing. Jude, excited, Mama. Mama. Elder Boko said, I will lead the children's dance at the Moon Festival. Rebecca, laughing proudly and, you see your life, my son? May your head always carry light. Jude, turning to Agnes. Auntie Agnes, would David and James dance too? Brief silence. Agnes, forcing a smile. They will watch, my child. The words were gentle, but each one burned her throat. She turned her face away, pretending to wipe her hands. Rebecca, sensing the tension, stood quietly. She placed the pot on the floor and said softly, Agnes, my friend, did I offend you in any way? Agnes replied quickly, no. Why do you ask? You've changed, Agnes. Your eyes don't smile anymore, Rebecca said. Agnes, looking away, I'm just tired. Rebecca continued sadly. You are my sister. If your load is heavy, let me carry it with you. Agnes replied quietly, Rebecca, some loads are meant to be carried alone. Rebecca left that evening, her heart uncertain. She did not know the depth of pain that had begun to grow in Agnes' chest. A pain that would soon find a voice from the bottom of a dark well. There are whispers in the village that the well hears what hearts refuse to say. And when envy grows loud enough, the water listens. That night, Agnes dreamed of the old well. She saw its mouth open, dark and endless. She heard a voice calling softly from within. A voice from the well echoed, whispering, Agnes. Agnes, do you wish your sons to shine like hers? Agnes, trembling in her dream, who is speaking? Voice, low, echoing, I can give them light. But light comes with a price. Agnes, no, leave me. She woke up panting, her body drenched in sweat, the night was still. But her heart was no longer quiet. The elders say, when you answer the call of darkness, even your own shadow begins to fear you. And from that night onward, Agnes' footsteps would lead her closer to the forbidden well. The rains had begun. They had smelled of wet clay and new leaves, but Agnes's heart was dry, parched with envy. For weeks, she could not sleep without hearing that voice. Sometimes in dreams, sometimes in the wind. Always soft. Always tempting. Voice from the well, echoing faintly, Agnes, Agnes. Do you wish to be seen? Do you want your sons to be praised? She tried to pray, but her prayers felt heavy. She went to church, but even the song sounded distant, like echoes trapped underwater. One morning, after another sleepless night, Agnes walked out of her hut before dawn. Her wrapper was loosely tied, her feet bare against the cold earth. She didn't know why, but her legs led her toward the old sick cotton tree, toward the forbidden well. The air grew still. Even the insects refused to sing. Agnes stood before the well, staring into its black mouth. No reflection. No ripple, just darkness, endless and waiting. She stepped closer. The ground felt softer beneath her feet, like the earth itself breathed. Agnes said, softly, I should not be here. Voice from the well, calm, persuasive, yet here you are. Agnes stuttered, who are you? Voice, I am the voice that answers envy. The voice that feeds empty hearts. Agnes, trembling, I am not envious. I only want my children to have a better life. Voice, mocking, and so you envy her, do you not? The widow whose sun shines brighter than yours. Soft pause. Wind rises. Agnes whispers, she is my friend. Voice, calm, then why do you dream of her falling? Why do you wake with her name bitter on your tongue? Short silence. Agnes begins to cry. Agnes, I didn't mean it. I didn't. Voice, I can help you. I can make your sons wise, respected and adored. Agnes, what do you want from me? Voice, lower, darker, nothing that was not already yours to give. Water reposed softly, like movement beneath the surface. Agnes's breath quickened. She felt a strange pull, a gentle force drawing her closer to the well's mouth. Her tears mixed with the rain. But before she could step forward, a sudden flash of lightning tore through the sky, loud thunderclap. Birds scattered in the distance. She stumbled back, gasping. And in that blinding flash, she thought she saw a face in the water, not her own. A shadowed figure with glowing eyes, silence, then soft drip, drip, drip. The elders say, when evil calls your name twice, turn back before the third time. Agnes turned and ran home, her heart pounding like a talking drum. The next day, the sky was clear, the earth bright again. Rebecca came visiting, cheerful as always, unaware of the storm that had begun to form inside her friend. Rebecca called cheerfully, Agnes. My friend. Come, the harvest festival is in 2 days. Will you not help with decorations? Agnes, distracted, I will come later. Rebecca, giggling, you always say later. Don't make me drag you from your heart. Agnes, forcing a smile, you will not need to. I will come. Rebecca laughed, but Agnes, her smile was hollow, like a drum with a cracked skin. That evening, Rebecca and her son went to the market to buy palm oil and cloth for the celebration. The village was filled with laughter, drums, and the scent of new harvest. But Agnes stayed home, sitting alone in the dark. The voice had returned down, clearer, stronger. Voice from the well, softer now, almost kind. You could be happy, Agnes. You could be honored. All you need to do is make a wish. A simple wish. Agnes, hesitant, and what will it cost me? Voice, softly, a drop for a drop. A life for a life. But it need not be yours. Water gurgles softly, echoing upward. Agnes' breath froze. The voice faded, leaving silence behind, heavy, suffocating silence. From that moment, Agnes was no longer herself. Her laughter vanished, her eyes turned hollow. She spoke less, but watched more. Especially Rebecca. One afternoon, she saw Rebecca at the market again, surrounded by people, laughing, glowing with joy. Jude recited another proverb, and the whole crowd clapped. Elders laugh, laughing in awe. This boy, wisdom has found his home. Jude, smiling, the monkey that mocks the lion forgets the forest is wide. Laughter erupts. Agnes' face darkened. She clenched her basket until her knuckles turned white. Something inside her whispered, why her? Why not you? Sound fades. Heavy silence. That night, Agnes walked again toward the sick cotton tree. But this time, she carried something. A chicken, a small clay bowl, a piece of white cloth, and a calabash of water. She killed the chicken and poured its blood into the water. The well swallowed it eagerly. The ripples spread like hungry tongues. From that night, the neighbors began to whisper too. The moon was full, the air cold and still. She stood before the well and whispered. Agnes said, softly, if this is my path, then let it be done. Slow drip echoes into deep space. Low hum of unseen energy. Voice from the well pleased, then speak your desire. Agnes, trembling, make my sons wise and strong. Let them shine above all children. Even if another must fall. Sudden gush of wind. Water splashes upward violently, then silence. And in that silence, the well drank her words, the earth trembled softly. A promise sealed. Agnes stood still, her heart both heavy and relieved. She turned to leave, unaware that the well had whispered another name beneath her words. Whispering echoes, faint voices murmuring, Jude. Jude. The next morning, Rebecca came running, panic in her voice. Rebecca, screaming, Agnes. Agnes. My son, my Jude is missing. Villagers shouting in confusion, footsteps running, women crying faintly. And that was how the well took its first breath of life again. When the cock crowed twice that morning, a scream shattered the peace of Fijobi village, women's wailing echoing through the compound. Rebecca screamed. She ran barefoot through the compound, her upper loose, hair undone, her breath breaking with every cry. Rebecca, panicked, crying, Jude. Jude, my son. Where are you, Jude? Drums beat fast in confusion, neighbors rushing out, children whispering fearfully. Neighbor, shouting, what's happening? Whose child is missing? Another voice, it's Rebecca's boy. The wise one. The whole village stirred. Men dropped their hoes, women left their pots half-cooked. They gathered, murmuring in fear and confusion. Rebecca ran from hut to hut, calling her son's name until her voice cracked. She ran to the river. Nothing. She ran to the farm. Nothing. She ran to the schoolyard. Only silence. Rebecca, weak, trembling, someone help me, my boy is gone, her eyes were wide. She fell to her knees by the old mango tree, clutching the earth. And there, in the crowd, stood Agnes, pale, shaking. Her lips tried to move, but no words came. She joined the search, calling out to Agnes, voice trembling, where is the boy? Jude. Jude. But her voice sounded hollow, like one who already knew the answer, soft wind blowing through trees. Silence grows heavy. The sun climbed higher. Hours passed. Still, no one found Jude. Finally, the elders gathered under the big tree near the square. Elder Leke said, this is no ordinary disappearance. The boy was simply near his mother's hut. Then, gone. Elder Bola, could it be the work of spirits? Old woman, fearfully, or the cursed well? The crowd gasped. Even saying its name brought chills. Elder Sam said, family, we must consult the diviner. Let the truth be revealed. They went to the house of the old diviner, Osama, a man whose eyes saw beyond the dust of the earth. His hut smelled of herbs and smoke, charms hung from the ceiling like sleeping bats. He sat cross-legged, silent, before the calabash of water. The villagers waited, trembling. Cowries falling one by one. The low hum of chanting intensifies. Diviner, deep, commanding voice, the ancestors are restless. A cry has reached them, the cry of innocence. He closed his eyes. The cowries rattled again. Then, slowly, he lifted his head. Diviner, solemn, the child lies where water swallows but cannot return. The guilty one walks among us. Collective gasp. Soft thunder in the distance. Whispers spread through the crowd like wildfire. All eyes turned toward Agnes' compound. The old woman whispering, the cursed well is there. The elder said slowly, bring torches. We must see with our own eyes. It was night when they arrived at Agnes' compound. The moon hid behind clouds. The well stood in the corner, quiet, waiting, its dark mouth glistening faintly. Elder Sam said cautiously, bring the light closer. Torch flares brighter. Water reposed gently. The villagers leaned forward. Then one of the women screamed, look. Look in the water. Sharp gasp from the crowd. Floating on the black surface were two tiny sandals, jute sandals, distant thunder rolls. Rebecca wails uncontrollably. Rebecca, screaming, collapsing, my son. My son. He's gone. Oh, ancestors, why? Rebecca beat the ground with her fist, her tears soaking the earth. Her cries pierced the night like broken glass. And in that moment, all eyes turned to Agnes. Diviner, sternly, Agnes, what have you done? Silence. Only the wind moves. Agnes' lips trembled. She shook her head, tears streaming. Agnes, whispering, I didn't mean to, diviner, commanding, speak, woman. What did you do? Agnes, breaking down. The well, the voice, it promised me peace. It said if I gave blood, my sons would be wise. I didn't know it would take him. Forgive me. Rebecca screamed, rushing at Agnes, clawing at her wrapper, sobbing, Rebecca, furious, you killed my child. My own friend. My sister. Agnes, sobbing, I didn't want to. The well demanded him. I couldn't resist. It whispered and whispered until I obeyed. Diviner, raising his staff. Enough. The spirits have spoken. The well that eats the innocent shall eat the guilty too. Loud gust of wind. The torches flicker violently. Before anyone could move, the ground trembled. The air grew cold, biting like a hammer-ton wind. The well began to bubble, the water churned, rising, frothing. Agnes screamed, clutching her head. Agnes said, terrified, no. No. It's coming for me. Invisible hands seemed to pull her toward the well. The villagers tried to grab her, but their hands slipped as if covered with oil. Elder Leke, shouting, hold her. Hold her fast. But the pull grew stronger. Agnes' nails dug into the soil, leaving marks as she was dragged closer and closer. Agnes, screaming, forgive me. I didn't mean it. Agnes, cried Rebecca. Forgive me. Rebecca, crying, may the ancestors judge you. And with one final scream, Agnes was pulled into the mouth of the well. Her voice echoed as she disappeared beneath the black water. Sudden silence. Wind stops. Only faint dripping heard. The torches flickered out one by one. When the light returned, all that remained was Agnes' red scarf floating gently on the surface. The villagers stood in silence. Even the wind refused to blow. At last, the oldest elder spoke, his voice trembling like a drum at dusk. The well has taken what it demanded. May this be a lesson, that jealousy digs the pit it falls into. By sunrise, the men sealed the cursed well with stones and poured libations to calm the spirits. Rebecca never saw her son again. But the people of Fijobi remembered that day. And they told their children, the well does not drink water, it drinks souls. Morning came slowly over Fijobi village. The sky was pale with sorrow. No one laughed. No one sang. Even the drums of dawn remained silent, as if the spirits themselves were mourning. The villagers gathered once more beneath the great Iroko tree. They had sealed the cursed well with stones and palm leaves, tied charms around it, and poured libation on the earth. Elder Leke, reflective, we have seen what jealousy can do. It begins with whispers in the heart, and ends with blood in the ground. Elder Sam, softly, yes. The well was only a mirror, reflecting the darkness Agnes carried within. Rebecca sat a little apart from the crowd, wrapped in a faded cloth. Her eyes were hollow, not from anger anymore, but from pain too deep for words. The old woman, approaching gently, daughter, eat something. You must live. The ancestors will comfort you. Rebecca, quietly, voice trembling, my son is with them now. If I could speak to Agnes one more time, I would tell her. I forgive her. The old woman, surprised, you forgive her. Rebecca, weak smile. Yes. Because hatred feeds the same well that swallowed her. I will not feed it again. Her words hung in the air like a morning prayer. Even the elders nodded, tears in their eyes. The oldest elder, raising his staff, let it be known throughout our land, envy and greed are the true poisons of the heart. A jealous soul digs its own grave. Days turned to weeks. The memory of that night never left the people of Fijobi. They told the tale to every child born after, not to scare them, but to teach them. To teach that the heart, once poisoned by envy, can destroy what it loves most. And so, when mothers gathered under the mango tree in the evenings, they whispered, beware the well within your heart. The jealous heart sees others' blessing as its own burden. Because jealousy doesn't wait in the dark. It grows quietly, like weeds around a flower. And in the end, it strangles beauty itself. My children, listen very well. If your friend prospers, celebrate with her. If your neighbor's child shines, bless him. Because a candle loses nothing by lighting another candle. Children, soft chorus, yes, Baba Osama. Elder said, family, but if you dig a pit for another, be sure your own shadow will fall into it first. He who throws stones at the moon only breaks his own hand. Thus ends the tale of the well of jealousy. A story not of spirits alone, but of hearts and choices. A tale whispered from grandmother to grandchild, from firelight to firelight, so that no one forgets that envy digs deeper than any well. And you, listening tonight, what wells have you dug in your heart? Do you feed them with bitterness or fill them with peace? Remember this. The heart that envies cannot see blessings, even when they stand before its door. May we learn from Agnes and Rebecca. May we watch our hearts, guard our thoughts, and love without envy. For only then would the wells within us stay pure and flourish. This has been The Well of Jealousy, an African folktale of greed, guilt, and grace. If this story touched your heart, like, share, and subscribe for more. Tell it again to teach someone a lesson. Because stories like this are medicine for the soul. Comment your thoughts. And remember, these stories are not just for telling. They are for keeping. They are for warning. They are for teaching. Subscribe to African Mind Prints for more stories that never die.